Correct. Yeah, I was watching which videos had more likes, which video had more views, because TikTok it's very open on the data side, so you can see what's working, what's hot, what's trending.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of Mortgage Influencers, where we bring you professionals who share insight into the latest trends, tips, industry technology, and services to help you be a mortgage influencer in your mortgage business.
Try not to. So hey guys, thanks for hopping on. Ginger Bell here. Carl and Frank and Scott were all at the Freedom Club event in Nashville. So I actually hopped up to my room in order to be able to share this information and have Danny share with you what he's doing with TikTok. So Danny, thanks for joining us. Everyone, thanks for hopping on. If you have questions, you can type them in the chat box or the Q&A box, and go ahead and just make sure that you can do that there and say, hello, I want to make sure that we're on and you guys can hear us. So if you can just type in there where you're calling in from today, and that way we know you know how to ask questions. So if you can just do that, that would be great. And so Danny, I'm going to set you up just a little bit, and I apologize. I've talked too much, and so it's starting to feel the effects. So you started doing video a while ago, right?
Yeah, in 2018.
In 2018. And what kind of videos were you doing then?
At that moment, I was like trying to just do education videos and introduce myself in video because I just relocated from Puerto Rico to Tampa, so I wanted the people to know who I am, real estate agents that I requested friends in Facebook. So I started like putting myself out there, like educational content, sharing my my content on different groups in the Tampa area, outside of just real estate. So like small business groups in the Tampa area. I started sharing that information. I was like all over the place, and that's how I started being introduced by agents, sending me friend requests. Then I went to a lot of events at that moment prior to the pandemic, and I shook a lot of hands. So I met a lot of people, and it was very easy. And that's when I discovered that video was doing the hard work up front, because when I met them, it was like they already knew me. Like, hey, you're
Right.
Danny. Hey, you're Danny. Hey, I know you because of your videos. I like your content. So it was very warm, the way to introduce myself. I was already like a kind of authority or leader, and that opened me a lot of doors.
Yeah, and that's what video does. In fact, honestly, Danny, I'm here in Nashville at the Freedom Club event, and we got back from the Opry last night, and I'd walked into a bar, as we always do at the mortgage events, and someone came up to me and he said, "Oh man, Danny's just killing it. He's doing, so great on TikTok," and so they watch you and they see you, and that's what video does, which is so important right now, is to be seen. If you're not doing video, you're really doing yourself a disservice, right? So I want to talk about TikTok because a lot of people want to get onto TikTok. And there's short form content. YouTube is more of the long form content, which you do some of that too. And I always equate it. YouTube is more like a billboard advertisement, that it's going to be up there longer, right? People are probably going to drive by it more often. They're going to go search for it. It's your long-term marketing. Whereas the TikTok and the Reels, that's your short term, because that flashes by people. It's kind of like the 30-second radio spot if you're driving in the car and listening to the radio, right? But you got into doing TikTok, and one of the first things that you recommend doing, and I think it's important, is to start a burner account. So not your name, because you don't want people to start following other people in mortgage, but you just started watching other people and saw what they were doing, right?
Correct. Yeah, I was watching which videos had more likes, which video had more views, because TikTok it's very open on that, on the data side. So you can see what's working, what's hot, what's trending. And I just said, I realized, like, watching a couple of videos, I said, like, wow, this is cool. This is a new way of promote yourself in a different ways, multiple creative ways. And I said, like, and I can do this better, or I can put this in a different approach for my market. And I already had the idea, looking what they were recording. I just want to put, I just put my season, my recipe together, and that's how I started, like, getting more views, exposing to more audience. People start following me. I created my tribe, right?
Right. So
Hey, sorry, Ginger, I see some people telling that the chat is disabled.
yeah, they can type their questions in the
Okay,
question
cool.
box. So if they want to, I don't know why the chat is disabled. Sometimes when you get on the internet at hotel rooms, they do funky things on Zoom. But if you have questions, yeah, you can just type them into the question box. And same thing, we've got people who are joining us live in our live stream. So if you have questions, you can type them there as well. So first thing, watch other people, get an idea for what they're doing, and kind of find what works for you, what resonates with your personality type. And then the second thing is set up your social media. Now, you have a consistent name across all of your social media, from TikTok to LinkedIn to Facebook to all of it, right?
Yes, that's correct. I
And I
try to
love that.
stay with Danny Home Loans, or Danny Ruiz Home Loans. Yeah, that's my brand.
Yeah. And having that, I think, is important because the whole idea is to build a brand around you. And, social media, I was teaching a class the other day, and I was saying, doing the videos on social media is like going for a walk around your neighborhood. And, the first time you walk around the neighborhood, maybe, somebody notices you and they go, oh, who is that person? And then, maybe you walk around the block a second time and they're like, oh, I've seen that person before. And then you walk around the block the third time, and they're like, oh, hey, do you live in the neighborhood? Right. And then you walk around the block the fourth time and they're like, hey, what's your name? What do you like? It's that consistency is what the social media and the short content videos does, is you just go for a stroll around the neighborhood. You think about, that's what people used to do. I'm in the South right now, and they had the big houses with the porches, and people would sit out, front with their sweet tea, and they'd go walking by. And so that's what you want to think about with social media, which means you have to consistently do it. And you did a really good job of doing that. So how did you start out doing consistent content, and how often did you post?
I try to post at least one time daily. And that's the viral formula, is what you said, consistency. When people see you and look at you and look at you and hear you, they're going to say, like, hey, I have a question. The other day you posted this, and that's my scenario. So what I'm doing also is to try to be, every time I do something, to post it with a purpose. Like let's say, if you're going, you can have content. Like, first you can have educational content, okay?
Right.
But you can, what I have learned is that being educational is good to a certain limit, because you want to sell, you want people to call you, and that's going to happen. That's going to happen if you being consistent. So that's going to happen very easy with your circle of influence, like your friends, like the real estate agents that you already know. It's going to help you, not just they calling you, also that will help you when you make that call that you have to do every all Monday to follow up with new real estate agents.
Right.
That's gonna be great, because it's not gonna be cold any longer. It's gonna be warm. Like, hey, you are Danny. Hey, I have been watching your videos.
Right.
It's awesome how does to have that experience. So it's a way easier than just a cold call. So but then if you want to go to the general public, I highly recommend like not just being educational, like add storytelling. Like to storytelling is great, and it's very important. You need to, when you start recording, you need to have a framework, like the hook. The hook is very important. Like if you're
Right.
going to talk about something, don't start with, hey, I'm this is my name, I work for this company. You are wasting 3 or 4 seconds. So you can start with a hook, like first time home buyer, if you're purchasing a home, three the most three common mistakes that first time home buyer does. And you
Right.
start like talking about this is a story, and in the middle of the story you can say like, hey, I'm a loan officer, something like that. And in the end, always you have to close,
Yep.
call
Put in the
me,
call to action.
a call to action. So yeah, you have to be very mindful of that when you are outside of your circle of influence. Is different how you will relate with them. Also, like I use a lot of market updates. I follow Barry Habib,
Uh-huh.
and I post a lot of content. I digest all that news to my audience in a very easy way for them to understand. And
Right.
you doing that consistently with the other things like the storytelling, etc., you are more approachable to people.
Yeah, and having just that support and knowledge that you are providing them with that, and they rely on you for that. So
Yeah,
the
yeah.
question too, because you have a really smart way of making it easy for people to get in touch with you. And so you use Linktree, and Linktree as a URL aggregator. So you can put all of your links for all your social, your website, your calendar in there. And I know when you do that, you've had a lot of people that don't call you, but they schedule an appointment to meet with you. Is that right?
That's correct.
So, and it's one of those things you kind of think about. Number one, I think that's part of the world we live in, because if you're if you're going to go see the doctor, you're going to make an appointment. And so by putting your calendar up there, you allow them to make that appointment with you, because a lot of times, and I know you've found this, people are scrolling through your videos at like 2 and 3 o'clock in the morning, right?
That's correct. Yeah. When I already woke up, I have comments or likes. Yeah, people, they are watching you. They are watching information just in social media, so you need to be there.
Yeah, and making it easy for them to set up an appointment and not just call you, I think is so critical, because 2 o'clock in the morning, and you think about, people are going through that because something's keeping them up at night. And so when you're making the content and starting with the hook, which you always, I mean, you're 100% right. Always start with the hook. So are you wondering if now is a good time to buy? Well, yeah, that's why I'm scrolling through here right now, right? And so, giving them those answers and allowing them to make that appointment right then when they see you is so smart to be able to do that. So use a link tree, put your calendar link in there, put your website, because the other thing is people will go and watch you on other things. And so you use your TikTok and your Insta and your Facebook to link to some of your YouTube channels, right?
Yep. And I
Yeah.
also upload all that content. I download it, I remove the watermark, and I upload it on the Facebook Reels, on the YouTube Shorts, and Instagram. The stories that has been great, because stories, people love stories,
Yeah.
and sometimes it's easier for me to measure what works and what not work with the stories, because you have the like the amount of viewers usually is much higher than the viewers when I just posted a video on my main feed.
Yeah.
So yeah. So I will add for everyone that is listening, something that I have been thinking about, like now going to that general audience that they don't know me, but probably I will continue creating more content and grab their information, because yes, I think that I still need something else to add value, and instead of just waiting for them to and cross my fingers so them can make an appointment on my link because of the
Right.
great information and I'm providing, I think that I will create like a little handbook, and that's gonna be like my product. Like every time that I talk about something, hey, and remember, um, send me your email or download this link so you can get my the 10 most important questions that you need to for a seller,
Yeah.
or that
And
you need
yep.
when doing an application,
Yep.
a mortgage application. Something I need something to hook them up and create grab their email and then start sending them email through a campaign, automated campaign through MailChimp or something. That's the thing that I'm working right
The
now.
next phase. Well, and
Yeah.
having a squeeze page where you do a lead capture is important. Danny, we have in our Edge Marketing Toolbox 2 things that would be easy for you to do. We have a buying in today's market guide, which is already done. It's like 5 pages of graphics. You can brand it to yourself. So I would say using something like that, and then just put in your videos, and you can go back and forth, because you don't want to have too many of them, but you can have, one landing page that has buying in today's market, selling in today's market, where it's a lead capture, and put that into just a squeeze page where you capture their information and then do a drip campaign. And that's the
Awesome.
next step. So yeah, so we'll talk about that for you for the next step. And that's a
Cool.
lot of it too. It's like you get started, and video's like the entry gate. It's showing up at the party with the dip, and saying, hey, I'm here. And so then, okay, somebody's here, and then you're walking to somebody else and you meet them, and it's like, oh, hey, there's this other event going on. If you give me your information, I'll tell you about it. Right. And we have to think that way in terms of everything that we're doing in our marketing. Social media is really the entry. It's like I said, it's walking around the neighborhood and, getting people to see you and say, oh, I've seen that person before. Who is that person? I'm going to talk to that person. But then after that, it's up to you to do something else. And so having that, squeeze page where you have them submit their information is definitely a good critical step next.
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
What other tips do you have as far as for TikTok for someone that
Well,
wants to get started?
well, in regards, I do trends, but these days I think that the most important thing has been like being the guy, being that person that is answering the questions, the hard questions, Sometimes I have a real estate agent that they just don't know what's happening in the market
Right.
because they are so busy doing other things that they don't know where are rates today. So when you have that kind of information and you start talking like, hey, this is not like 2008, and you explain why with probably some graphics that you took from Keep Current Matters, or also I set up Google alerts for Redfin, Zillow, and so
Nice.
on. So if you grab that information and you do videos, I have seen like agents sharing my information with their friends through Facebook and other platforms. And now I receive friend requests from other real estate agents
Right.
because they are learning what to tell their customer because they don't have an idea. Really,
Right.
they don't know how to explain this. They don't even know. Yeah, they don't even know. So doing that type of content in today's market, that there's a little bit of crisis with rates, you being that person, that definitely will help you, and it will help your business, and it will help you because the first thing is that when you are posting a video, you want to make sure that information is correct, right?
Right.
So you're gonna learn before posting, and I think that has been a game changer in my business and for me personally.
Yeah. And honestly, the number one advice is just get started.
Absolutely.
I mean, what was your first video like? Was it awesome?
Well, my first video wasn't awesome. I will tell you that I was very afraid and scared of everything, of economically, financially. I was not like okay at that moment. I just relocated. I have probably some bucks in the bank, and I started being a loan officer in a completely new market in Tampa, and I was not receiving any calls. I was touching doors. I was knocking doors. I was shaking hands out there. And in a moment of desperation, I said, hey, I'm going to start doing videos. So when I did that first video with a friend of mine to introduce myself, the video was done. I started like sharing it on like, but to do that video, we record that video like 15 times because I wasn't feeling good about
Right.
how I said this or that. So I erased it and deleted it multiple times. So then I shared it in a multiple platforms, groups, etc. So, but then I started looking at the video again. I said, like, oh my God, no, we have to delete this because I didn't mention this word correctly. So I need to, and when I started deleting it back, the signal on the building was very weak. So I was logged out of the Facebook, and I said, like, well, forget it. The other day, when I had I opened the Facebook, I said like, wow, a lot of notification. Real estate agent that I knocked doors at their office. They were saying, hey Danny, thank you for coming here the other day. It was like, wow, this is good. This is much better than what I thought. Wow. And when I saw that power, I said like, wow, this is good. Let me keep doing this.
And that's it. Get started. Even if it takes you 15 times, that's okay. But then post it, and then make another one and post it, and make another one and post it. Carl White always says the video you make today is much better than the video you didn't make yesterday. And so that is, really a lot of it. So how can people follow you?
Well, you can start. The easiest way will be with friend requests on Facebook. Like I'm Danny Ruiz, or if you can go to my TikTok page is Danny Home Loans. That's my username, and yeah, that's the best way.
Yeah, so go follow him on TikTok, and guys, stop waiting. Now is the time. You have time now. It is a perfect time to dive into doing video. And if you don't want to start on TikTok, start on Instagram or something else. But honestly, Danny, I think if you're going to do one, and you said this, just post them on everything.
Yeah, posting every day. Yeah, absolutely. And sometimes you feel like, hey, I want to, people ask me, hey, and how many times do you record, or do you take one day to do that? And I said like, no, it's so easy. Like sometimes I am having a conversation with a client or with a real estate agent, and when that I ended that call, I said like, wow, that was a great question. This was a great scenario that people doesn't even know, and this will be good for a video. So I start recording a 1-minute video explaining the story of what happened or what to avoid.
Right.
And it's that easy. It's that easy.
I love it. So Danny, thank you so much for joining us.
My pleasure.
And to Scott at Find My Way Home, and Frank at the Loan Officer Breakfast Club, and Carl at the Mortgage Marketing Animals. Thank you guys. Happy Thanksgiving. We are not going to do a call next Wednesday. I'm going to actually be in Cabo, so I'll be enjoying some weather.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So
awesome.
So take care, and thank you guys for joining us. And we'll see you on the next episode. Thanks, Danny.
Thank you.
Okay, bye.